is Victor Alpha 3 Alpha Echo, your net controller for this evening's Capital City FM net. This net meets most Monday evenings at this time to pass traffic and make announcements of interest to area amateurs. The net uses a VE2CRA, owned and operated by the Ottawa Amateur Radio Club, who also sponsor the net. This repeater requires a 100 Hz CT CSS tone for access, and if you do not have the tone on your radio, listen and transmit on 146.94, remembering to let the repeater tail drop so that I can hear what you have to say. The club also operates IRLP node 2040 on this repeater, and I still don't know whether that is turned on during the net or not. It looks like, from what people have told me, from things that are listed on our very own webpage, that it might be turned off during the net. Well, so I'll trust them and say that is the truth. All amateurs are welcome to check into this net, and membership in the club is not a requirement. This is, however, a controlled net, and all traffic should be passed through the net controller. This evening, the net controller is VA3AE, Victor Alpha 3 Alpha Echo, and my name is David. Okay, so first of all, do we have any emergency or priority traffic on this evening's Capital City FM net? Pardon me, just untangling the wires here on my radio. Okay, that's really good. I never want to have emergency or priority traffic on my particular net. Do we have any general traffic or announcements for this week? Okay, I guess I'll take that to mean we don't have any generals or any announcements.
Victor Alpha 3 Golf Foxtrot Yankee.
Victor Alpha 3 Golf Foxtrot Yankee. Did I do something that caused my radio not to work?
No, you're loud and clear. It just wasn't clear, at least not to me, that you were calling for check-ins. This is VE2CRA, Sierra Oscar, and the name is Jerry.
Right, yeah, I didn't get to the calling in yet, Jerry, but thanks. I did write you down. Yeah, where am I now? So, my little checklist here. We have no general traffic or announcements. Do we have any mobile check-ins, mobile or low-power handheld this evening? Please go ahead.
Victor Alpha 3, Bravo India Tango, Bicycle Mobile. Good evening, Dave.
Direct 3, Golf Victor.
Okay, I got Victor Alpha 3, Bravo India Tango, Arthur. And I think it was Victor Echo 3, Golf Victor India, Sydney, but it broke up in the middle of, right after the 3. Yeah, very marginal. I can, you're breaking the repeater, but no audio. Might have to go climb up on the roof.
Oh, I'll use this antenna. I'll use this rig here. I was trying the portable on 450, but no, 3 CGVI Sydney. Victor Echo 3 Golf Victor India Sydney with 2 Ys.
Why not use the powerful radio, Sydney? Very good. I can hear you fine now. Any other low power or mobile stations this evening?
Victor Alpha 3 November Alpha Lima.
Victor Alpha 3 November Alpha Lima, and your name, sir?
My name is Calvin.
Calvin, good evening.
Good evening.
Okay, so that comes to the bottom of the mobile or low power stations. Now it's time for the free-for-all. Please come now with your call sign and name. I'll try and scribble everything down as fast as I can.
Victor Alpha 3, Juliet Papa X-Ray, VA3 JPX. The name is James in Canada.
Victor Echo 3, X-Ray Romeo Alpha. Name is Glenn.
VA3
November Papa Oscar, name's Roger.
Kilo, name is Mike.
Victor Echo 3, Kilowatt Alpha Echo, the name is Alan.
VE3 Tango X-Ray Bravo, the name is Tim. Tierra India Mike.
Victor Echo 3, Juliet Delta Zulu, name is Howard.
Okay, I'll stop it there. Okay, I got Victor Alpha 3, Japan Papa X-Ray, Victor Echo 3 X-Ray Romeo Alpha, Victor Echo 3 November Papa Oscar, Victor Echo 3 Kilo Echo Alpha, Tim VE3, I know your call, I scribbled it and I missed it. Victor Echo 3 Juliet Delta Zulu Howard, and V3FFK Mike. Tim, what's your call?
Call is VE3 Tango X-Ray Bravo.
Yeah, I was copying behind, and I said, oh, I know that one. So my brain automatically didn't bother listening again. Thanks. Anybody else for this evening's Capital City FM net?
Okay, Alan, I did check in earlier, and I'll be checking out as well. This is VE3QSO, Quebec Sierra Oscar. Name is Jerry, but I've got to run. Good evening to everyone on the net. Back to you, VE3QSO.
Yeah, and just wondering if you got me on the list there. Victor Alpha 3 Golf Foxtrot Yankee.
V3QSO and VA3GFY. Got you both. Thanks. Anybody else to add to the list? Victor Echo 3. Oops. Sorry, my paper is printed with the Alpha. Victor Alpha 3 Alpha Echo. My name is Dave, and I'm your net controller. Please come now with your call sign and name.
Victor Echo 3, Zulu Romeo Kilo, the name is Brian.
Well, hello, everybody. I will stop it there. Thank you, Brian. And net moderator, net manager, I forget what your name is, but whatever it is, it's an auspicious title, Brian. Okay, and I'm just looking out the window, and the rain is pouring down again, but I don't seem to have terrible SWR, so I'm pretty sure you can still hear me. Tonight, I'm coming to you on my newly minted 2-meter, 70-centimeter plastic encased, standing up outside out of cheap Home Depot plastic parts, wire ladder J-pole, which seems to be working, but like so many of them, it's got some common mode on the coax, so I have to have a few clips on it to keep it from the SWR from going haywire. It's amazing what you can do with some old stuff. Question for the evening for you gentlemen, as you are all gentlemen here. Do you use rig control software with your rigs, if you in fact have rigs that can be controlled by software? And I guess I will go to Sean via 3GFY first. Do you have one?
Nope. So, next.
And Jerry's gone, so okay. VA3JPX, James in Canada, do you use rig controlling software?
Good evening, David, VA3AE and the net from VA3 Juliet Pop X-Ray. I sure do. I use Ham Radio Deluxe on my FT950. I use it on my FT991 Alpha, which I'm talking to you... No, I'm not talking to you on that right now, actually. I'm talking to you on my ICOM. Sorry about that. My FT991 Alpha, I use Ham Radio Deluxe on that one, but it's the free version, which was released about 4 years ago, so I have to tell it that it's an FT3000DX, and then it seems to communicate with it pretty well. And there's also a software that I use from a gentleman out of Quebec, and I forget his call sign. He created a software called Win4, that's WIN4 Yaesu suite, and it's very basic remote control software, and I use that as well on the 991, and it works fairly well, but it's in terms of its GUI, it's very, very plain Jane, but it certainly does the job, and I enjoy it. And David, before I pass it back to you, will you be around after the net? I have a question for you about the D-Star system here in Ottawa. Back to you.
Yeah, I'll be hanging around, so I'll be happy to answer that, James. Okay, V3CRA, Glenn, do you use any software to control your 9100 or your 70 or your 7000?
Could be better. I was coming in on 70 centimeters to switch back to 2 meters. I've been using Ham Radio Deluxe. In fact, I think since when I first bought my ICOM 7000, which I'm not sure, it could be eight or more years ago, and one of the reasons why I got it is that there's so many levels of menus, and it was much easier to have Ham Radio Deluxe. So I played around with that for a lot. That was the early days when it was the free version developed by the guy in Switzerland, who eventually sold it to some Americans who continued to develop it. And I have purchased the version of the commercial Ham Radio Deluxe as well. And when I think about it, some of the other things like logging programs that connected to, I think, N1MM and various and others actually are a form of rig control in as much as they talk to the radio, will move to various frequencies according to where you click on the radio. So I've used that, and last of all, I guess, thinking of your Flex 6500. Which I've played with a little bit as well, Dave. That really also seems to me a fairly integrated control. Everything happens on the computer, and it talks to the hardware, which happens to have BSDRs, but nonetheless. So yeah, I played around with a bunch of them, and some of them are used operationally. Back to the net.
I can hear you fine on 440, by the way, and then also on 2 meters, where I am. Okay, HRD, that's 2 votes for that, and I've used it myself, so it's technically that's 3. V3NPO, Roger, do you use any computer-controlled stuff?
V3NPO, well, to answer your question there, Dave, I guess not there. I just use whatever some menu-driven things are on my HF rig, and nothing like Ham Radio Deluxe. No, I do not really use software, so that's about the best answer I can give you. Back to you.
Okay, well, I've got an IC7000, which will be going up for sale soon, that had been in my car for a few years, and I used it only through the front of the radio, and the control microphone, so that I memorized which buttons are on the microphone so I could do it all by touch and not by having to look at anything, because, of course, you're driving. So, been there, too. I'm not sure whether I like the computer or the microphone better. Thanks, Roger. V3KA, Alan, do you use the rig control software, sir?
Good evening, David. It's you and I have call signs that sound kind of alike, but not quite the same. So it's KAE here. Yeah. Well, no, I don't. I don't have an ICOM rig, and I don't have Yaesu, and I have an Alinco, which is a bit challenged in that regard. I probably could do something with it if I separated the faceplate and hacked into the connecting cable, and I understand that's possible, but I just still I'll leave it the way it is. And I do have another HF rig. It's an old Kenwood TS520S, and that's a long way from computer automation of any sort. So that's a long answer to say no, David. VE2CRA, this is VE2CRA. Back to you.
Okay, yeah, the Alinco, yes. Don't cut the cable. That can all go so wrong very fast. And a 520, I don't think, even does it. It has transistors, but does it even have a microprocessor in it? Probably not. I remember that from when I got my license in the mid-70s. So I never had one of those, though a friend of mine did. Okay, Okay, Alan. And VE3 Kilo Alpha Echo. My dyslexia really did get me. Tim, VE3TXB, what about you? Rig control software?
I have tried one or two, unfortunately. There's nothing for the 991 that will control it properly other than spending Hamware Deluxe. I have tried a different version of Hamware Deluxe, but it does communicate, but it doesn't get all of the functions. So I'm still up in the air looking for one that will be able to control this radio properly, as well as seeing if Chirp is going to come up with something that you can even just up the frequencies. And so far, no luck with either radio I've got.
Okay, no luck. I wonder if Hamlib would support that radio. That's worth looking into. I see it from time to time referenced here and there, like in FL Digi and stuff. There's a tab for using Hamlib, but I don't know if that, I've never used it myself, so I can't say. V3 Juliet Delta Zulu, Howard, do you use rig control software?
V3 JDZ, no, because my HF rig, which is still boxed ever since my antenna came down in the ice storm in 1995, is an ICOM 740. Which I acquired from through the late Art Stark, V3ZF, back in 1982. And in those days, computer software wasn't known. For my VHF, I'm using the RT Systems software to program the VHF rigs. Back to net,
Okay, so RT Systems for the more modern rig, but 1982, yeah. Again, no microprocessors likely in there. V3FFK, Mike, sorry I got you out of order. How about you? Do you use any rig control software, sir?
V3FFK. Well, I use a little bit. My logging software is a thing called SD log, and it lets me move frequencies up and down and records the rig's frequency when it logs stuff, which is kind of nice. Avoids having me forget that. But it doesn't always light up correctly, so sometimes I have to fuss with it. So it's sort of okay, but not really ideal. For HF packet, I use Winmore, and that seems to work okay. Except that once again, it doesn't always doesn't always actually send the frequency to the rig. So sometimes I have to dial in the frequency manually, which is a bit of a nuisance, but entirely workable. I tried Ham Radio Deluxe quite a while ago and wasn't too pleased with it. Too many bells and whistles. It was too much to bother learning. The rig is an ICOM IC7200, which has a USB socket built into the thing and its own sound card. But at the time, that wasn't even a consideration for me. So, funny how things move along. Oh, by the way, at the beginning of the net, you were full quieting into the repeater and full quieting here on Simplex, on direct. But your signal partway through kind of dropped down to the point where I can no longer hear you on the input, and there's noise on the output. So if you change the antennas midstream, it may be time to rethink it. Incidentally, I'm working you on my plastic encapsulated twin lead J pole as well, so they do work. Back to net from VE3FK.
Yeah, I'd jumped into UHF, and I see I've got a little bit of SWR now. I'm going to switch back to VHF, rather. There we go. No SWR, probably a stronger signal, too. Okay, and thanks for that. SD log, Winmore, and the enumeration of a USB on Windows is a nuisance at best, isn't it? I've had that trouble myself. Okay, that brings us to the bottom of the list. Are there any other check-ins for this evening's Capital City FM net? Please come now with your call sign and name.
VE3BNO, George.
VE3CEW, Jeffrey, in and out. VE3BIT, recheck.
Okay, so I got George, V3BNO, VA3PW, Jeffrey, in and out, and because it was on the other side of the piece of paper, I skipped Arthur altogether. So with that, I will, and I skipped Brian too. There's Brian. Okay, so I'll keep going then. V3ZRK, do you control your radios with computer, Brian?
Evening, Dave. Evening, everyone on net. No, I don't. VE3ZRK.
Probably makes life a lot simpler, Brian. How about you, George? V3BNO, do you control your rigs with computer? I think you use that online HF computer thing as well, don't you?
No, I don't use it to control my rigs at all. I do go on the CQ100 and spend a fair amount of time talking to people there all over the world, but I've sold the house and I've moved, so I really don't have much radio gear set up to work.
Right, yeah, CQ100, thank you, that's the name of it. It's a pretty interesting arrangement, that. Well, will you be setting up something more, or are you going to go lightweight now?
Oh, I'll be lightweight for quite a while. Moving with the size of house I had and my age and many things like that, I'm not quite as ambitious as I used to be.
Well, that remains to be seen. Okay, thanks, George. Jeffrey's gone, and so now I'm down to Arthur, VA3BIT. Do you use rig control software, Arthur?
VA3AE in the group, VA3BIT, Bicycle Mobile. I'm afraid not. I don't get on HF enough to bother experimenting with all these fancy programs. But you did mention remote control in general, and I do use what limited capability is provided by my microphone to control my mobile handheld rigs. Back to you, Dave, VA3BIT.
Okay, so like me, you use the fancy microphone. Yeah, that which is almost remote control. Let's see now. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So it's about half and half for the people on the net tonight with software or not. The reason why I asked is because I've recently bought an IC7000 and I received a CD of the cloning software in the mail today, and just before the net I was fooling around with it trying to get it to work, and I can tell you, gentlemen, that I will be drinking a lot of coffee and cursing at the Windows computer for quite some time to make this go. Any other check-ins for this evening's Capital City FM net? Please come now with your call sign and name. Well, that seems like that's about it. So at 8:30, I'm going to call the net a success, and thank you all for checking in. This is my last bout, so I don't know who it is next week. Maybe if Brian's still there, he can tell me. And after that, I'll be returning the net to, I will be closing the net and returning the repeater to regular operation, 7-3.